Well guys, unfortunately I have some bad news. Our youngest pet bass, McCoy, which was Moby's twin, has passed away, and the cause of death is unknown. A couple nights ago everything was just fine. They were eating like normal, and then last night we started noticing something was off. I'll roll a clip of that. Well guys, I don't know if something's wrong with McCoy. He's never not eaten, and he's got the perfect opportunity. As you can see, we got one minnow sitting right down there on the bottom, and he hasn't eaten him. So we watched him for about 30 minutes just to check in on him, and he was swimming around, but you could tell there was something a little bit off with him. And I've raised pet bass all my life. I've never had one die on me, so it's kind of a shock. They're pretty hardy fish. It's, you know, it takes a lot to kill a bass, so we're really not sure. Maybe if you guys have had one die on, you can tell us what happened to yours. It came as a shock to us, so we're going to take just a minute to roll some clips from the past in remembrance of McCoy. One over there for him. Yep, McCoy got him a shrimp. Go, Liz. She's gonna hand feed McCoy here as soon as he sees it. Wrong one. You watching him?
Yeah.
Here you. Got it. So since we lost a life in our 55-gallon aquarium, we've decided to add a new life and a new partner for Moby up here, and that is down in this aquarium, but we're going to wait and talk about that a little later. First, let's go check in on our other fish. So here's a look at our 300-gallon aquarium. Bonnie and Clyde and Sheriff are doing good as always. That's our two pet bass, Bonnie and Clyde, and then Mr. Bluegill named Sheriff right here. So as we mentioned in that last video, we cleaned out the middle of the tank in hopes of putting the BamaBass lettering in, and wouldn't you know it, we had a huge freeze come through, and the letters have been frozen out there in that bucket that we keep them in all week. So we may decide to thaw them out later on and put them in, but first I want to address an issue that's in our 55-gallon tank. So this is completely unrelated to the death of McCoy, but as Liz and I were testing out the water parameters in this tank just to make sure that everything was good, we noticed that we had a new algae forming, and this is called blackbeard algae. Now it attaches to plants and can attach to rocks and things like that. That's the biggest piece of it in the aquarium, and usually it comes from not having enough CO2 in the tank, and a lot of these plants need a lot of CO2, and we're not currently injecting any CO2 into this tank, but there's some things that you can do. But we figured before we added any more fish in here, we might as well get the parameters right. I'll show you how we run tests to make sure that the parameters are right, and then we'll also show you some steps that we're going to take to get rid of that new algae we've got. So guys, if you don't have one of these freshwater test kits, I suggest you get one. We have a link in the description below, but Liz is going to go over what our parameters turned out to be.
Our pH is at 7.5 right now.
And that is a little bit high, and if we add some carbon or CO2, that'll bring that level down a little bit.
But the main things that we're looking at right now is the ammonia, nitrites, and nitrates. Ammonia is at 0.25, which is okay. The nitrites are at 0, which is exactly what we want, and nitrates are around 5 to 10. So all we need to do now is a quick water change, and it'll bring those levels back down. And then we're going to do some trimming in the aquarium to take out the blackbeard algae. And we're also going to remove any of the rocks that have the algae on them, set them out in the sun for a couple of days.
You see, if Moby will get out of the way, that algae back there, you can just trim the plants there, and then we can remove these rocks and set them out in the sun. It'll dry it up, and then we can just wash that algae off. And then we may dose it with some carbon to kind of get these levels back right. Alright, before we make any changes to the aquarium, we're going to go ahead and feed him a minnow, let him eat it. That way he's happy and not trying to bite our fingers. Alright Liz, let's drop it in. Got him. Alright, now on to the next step.
So now I'm going to do our weekly water change on the 55-gallon tank, and also get rid of any plants, leaves, or rocks and driftwood that have the blackbeard algae on them. I'm going to clip any of the leaves off that have any blackbeard algae and take out the rocks and the driftwood that have it on there, and we'll set the rocks and driftwood out in the sun, but get rid of any of the leaves that have the algae on them. So now that I know that I want to take these rocks out, I'm going to go ahead and get those out of there, because there's some swords back behind there that I want to clean up, and I want to make sure that I get all of those leaves trimmed off. So now that I've clipped off all that I think I'm going to clip off for now, I'm going to take about 50% of the water out, and then we'll spray down anything that we need to with the hydrogen peroxide and take the rocks outside. So the next thing I'm gonna do here is revitalize these 2 pieces of driftwood. This one doesn't look so bad, but I do want to give it a good spray down with some hydrogen peroxide and rinse it clean. I gave it a really good trim, and that's where I got some of this Java moss right here. Give it a good rinse, and then take my thread and thread the moss back onto this piece of driftwood. Now I'm gonna give it a good rinsing. So now I'm taking and putting the pieces of moss that are clean and placing them down like I want it on the piece of wood, and then I'll wrap it with the thread. I want to wrap it really good in the beginning here so that it doesn't get blown off. So this tank doesn't take nearly as much time as my 300-gallon aquarium does with filling up. So the one thing that I forgot to do is scrape the glass. So I'm going to do that really quick while it's filling up. And normally I would have rather done that in the beginning, but there's actually not that much algae on the glass.
All right, Liz has our new pet here. Liz, we're going to show them what it is. I think we're going to make y'all wait for the next Tank Tuesday.
But I can give y'all a hint. It is our most colorful pet yet.
That's right. So we will reveal our new pet in the next Tank Tuesday video. Alright folks, Liz did a fine job of completely renovating this tank, getting rid of all of that blackbeard algae. You can see it's completely gone. She added some new rocks with some new moss down there, cleaned up all of our existing trees, trimmed the leaves off that had the blackbeard on it, and as you can tell, Moby's back to happy. Now we got the tank ready for our new pet that'll be coming next Tank Tuesday. Leave a comment below on what you think the new pet is. I can almost guarantee you that no one will guess it. Alright, since we haven't done much in the 300-gallon aquarium in this video, we're going to do a little bit of hand feeding action. Liz is about to hand feed them some minnows, and we'll see how Bonnie, Clyde, and Sheriff react. That one.
Slippery.
The Sheriff got that one. Let's see if we can get one on the jump. Yep, Sheriff got that one. Alright, now Liz says we've got a big minnow, one of the biggest crappie minnows we've ever had. So we're going to drop that in the tank now, just single, and see which one of them gets that one. Alright, I'm going to lure them over here to this side, and Liz is going to come in on the left side. Yeah, let's see how big this one is. That's shad-like right there. Alright, I'm going to lure them over here. Alright, drop it in, yeah. And Clyde got it. Look at it, tail still sticking out of his mouth. That's a big one. That is probably definitely the biggest minnow we've ever dropped in. We might be full for a little bit. We're going to hand feed these guys a few more. Yep, Clyde said I'm full. I'm going to hang out over there. Sheriff got that one. Sheriff got that one. Alright, drop it. Ooh! That was some quick action there.
That's a big one, Sheriff.
You got it. Sheriff is the winner of the hand feeding contest. Alright, that's all for the hand feeding. Now we're going to roll some clips from this past week's feedings, and we're also going to show you some of our subscribers' fish tanks. Alright, first question comes from KVandy5989. More hunting videos in 2018. Well, you're in luck. The rut is just about to kick off here in Alabama, so you will be seeing some big bucks go down this year. Next question comes from Dwayne Wade Fan 2006. Where can I send a video of my fish to you? We always leave our email address down in the description of the video. Send your clips to that email address and we'll put you in our Tank Tuesday videos. Next question comes from It's Melanie. My bass died a few days ago. Rest in peace. We're sorry to hear that, Melanie. It was a sad day in the BamaBass household when McCoy died. But if you have any insight on why your bass died, or if any of you other people out there have had one die, leave a comment down below so we can kind of get an idea on what may cause these bass to die. Next question comes from Zachary Richards. Where can I get minnows if I don't have a local bait shop? Well, Zachary, when I was a kid growing up, I didn't have a local bait shop anywhere near me. But what you do is you buy these minnow traps, and you can throw them out in any little creek or branch or stream or pond anywhere around you, and you can put bread, dog food, ham, anything in it, and you'll either get crawfish or some type of minnows or bluegills or something to come in there, and that's the best way to feed them. Next question comes from Northern Outdoors. My bass seems to be extremely aggressive to other fish in the tank. How do I fix this? Well, Northern, most likely your fish are overcrowded. That's the only time I've ever seen bass be super aggressive to other fish, is when they don't feel like they have enough space or they're having to try to compete for food. Alright, and the first subscriber tank comes from Clay Froseth. He said, I have a video here of my 2-pound bluegill and my crappie, but just to let you know, the crappie may be a little bit camera shy. Clay, that's pretty amazing. I never thought I'd see a bluegill bigger than Sheriff in a tank. That is one giant bluegill. Thanks for sending in this clip. Alright, and the next subscriber clip comes from Mario Solis. This is a video of his nice tank and his largemouth bass eating a worm. So I appreciate y'all sending us those clips. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, and also leave a comment below on what you would like to see in next week's video.
Bonnie and Clyde were pretty looking people, but I can tell you people, they were the devil's children.